Yeah, okay. um, so, uh, so thank you very much again for coming to today's class, and especially on the weekend. So this today is let's wait a minute. Yeah. So let's. So this is the nice Sanskrit class, and it has been a long time since last Sanskrit class. I couldn't remember actually what we have talked about in detail, but I probably not mistaken that we talked about the special sandhi or special metrical, some metrical irregularities in the Rig Veda verses. And I make this a little bit bigger so you all can see. Wait a minute. Yeah, we talked about these words like the pantu and also vata, and actually there are other words, but I'm not going to talk about other words in detail, but you can check it yourself. So like this word, bas, and then this word, star. So this means stay, stand, and this means shine or glänzen, yeah, in German, yeah. So like for example, we wait a minute. So we talked about this pantu and also vato in the previous courses, and also this vato. But there are also this is also vata, like this vato. Yeah, there are a lot of actually vata is a pretty how to say that, a frequent example demonstrating these irregular meters. And the reason is that we have actually inside this word laryngeals, which make the scansion, 就是诗律划分的话，scansion. I'm not. I probably it's the correct word, right? So I have to check it. Scansion, right? Ah, okay. Wait a minute. Yeah, scansion. Yeah, right. Yeah. So it makes scansion a little bit strange. This vato, I put it here. So this word should be read actually as va'ato or va'ata, like this. So it is actually 3 syllables. Yeah. And actually we will check another example today, not vata, but other examples. Yeah. And for example, you have like here, if you check it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? And then this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So here you have 12, but here you have 11, because this one, this an also contains a laryngeal, makes it 12 actually. It is not stam, but star like, okay. So actually there are other examples, and you can, as I said, check the check the paper by Brent Vine, as I mentioned to you last time. So so check the paper, Brent Vine. And the title is, I think, it's like like this. I forgot the name, exact name, but I already sent the paper in our group chatting. Yeah. Okay. So today I give a short I give a short introduction to what we're going to talk about today. So as I explained earlier in the Latin class, we are going to talk about some irregular nominal declension as Mr. John mentioned in his Sanskrit class, because in Stenciller there are several irregular. We can check it if you want. Wait a minute. So actually in Stenciller, we have in this section, like the irregular stems, like aham, pat, up, pums, like narduch, and also the word for sour milk. I'm not sure if it is yogurt, because I think yogurt and sour milk are different things, right? But I'm not sure. Yeah, if you know more about the food and drinks in ancient India, you can tell us. Yeah. So this is sour milk. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and daddy. Yeah. Okay. So I think we can start. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Someone is knocking. Yeah. I have. Sorry. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah. So let's actually start by a question. Okay. So the question is, we actually have in Sanskrit. Okay, close. Probably a little bit noisy outside. Yeah. So actually, we have in Sanskrit the word called pivan, and it means fat. So this is the adjective. Yeah. This is the adjective. Yeah. The question is, what is the feminine? So this is masculine. Yeah. Pivan is masculine. Yeah, masculine. So the first question is, what is the correct? Oh, there's a 5. Yeah. Now, wait a minute. So option 5, none of the above. None of the above. Yeah. Yeah. So can you tell me the answer? Your guess 呀，就你们说一下，就是 "pivan" 这个词，它的阴性到底是应该是哪一个？一叫那个，so the first one is pivana, the second one is pivani, the third one is pivara, and the fourth one is pivari, or the option 5, none of the above. So can you just tell me your answer? I'm waiting for your feedback. Okay, first one, 5. Okay. Okay, and 4. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone has other options? Okay, 5. So actually, now there are 2 answers. 4 or none of the above? Okay, we will actually talk about later. Yeah. So this is actually so I think I can actually point out the right answer. It is actually this one. I make it yeah. So the feminine of P1 is P-Vali. So you see, that's really strange, right? So I make it, let's make it a little bit, so as we actually, as we actually have seen in other Sanskrit words like deva, I think you probably know the feminine. Wait a minute. This is masculine, right? And the feminine of deva is devi, right? Devi, right? So this is actually quite normal. Like R turns into a E for feminine. So this is feminine. Yeah, yeah. So this is kind of strange, right? But we will explain it today. And before we move on, let's check another example, actually in Greek. Not actually the other example, but the correspondence in Greek. So can anyone tell me which word is the correspondence to the Sanskrit word pivan, fat? You can type it quickly in English alphabet. You don't need to type in Greek alphabet. So can anyone tell me the Greek correspondence of the Sanskrit word pivan in this line? Yeah, in this line. I think it's not quite difficult, right? Yes, that's true. So this word is Greek correspondence of Sanskrit pivan. And then what happened here? So let's read the verse first. So it's like e de potetoi katapiona meli ekea, and then tauron e dauigon tode moi kleinon eodo. So this is hexameter. So there's actually long, short, short, long, short, short, long, short, short. So this is actually, if we scan this word, okay, let's translate a little bit, right? Okay, so A is all. A is all, or in German is order, and A is if, when, German when, and de is indeed or ever. It's kind of a strengthening word to emphasize, or if ever. But it is actually, it's actually connected with this pote, ede pote. So like de pote, so ever. And in English, it is translated as ever. And in German, it's jemals. So like ever, yeah. And then toy is to you. Toy is to you. And in German, it's dear. And then kata is a little bit, how do you say that? There's actually no direct correspondence to this kata. And this kata actually together with this, ekea means burn. Like you see, I burned. This is, wait a minute. Is it, okay, I forgot it, if it is aorist, yeah. Okay. And then Wait a minute, I have to check it. Sorry, yeah, I have to check it. I'm not sure if it is an aorist or imperfect. Yeah, it is aorist. Okay, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so it is aorist from the word for burn. Yeah, and the original present form is kaio. Kaio means burn, and this root is actually connected with the Tocharian. Very likely, it's Tocharian word for day. Like corn, like, yeah, it's okay, but it's not really important here. So the verb is burn. I burned. In German, it's verbrannt, verbrennen, so it's burned. Yeah, and then this piona media means actually something fat. Yeah, something. Yeah, the fat thigh pieces. Piona means actually fat, and this media should correspond to this thigh pieces. And then Taudo is boars or German Stier, Taurus. Yeah. And then Igo is goat, goats. Yeah, of goats. So this is genitive plural of boars oder von Stieren und von Ziegen. And then Tode, this. Tode means this. And moi means for me. Moi means for me. In German, it's just a mir, the dative. Yeah. Yeah. So you see that German is a little bit convenient because for moi, you have to use for me in English, but in German, you just use mir. It's pretty simple. Yeah. And then we have this word, kreinon. It means actually to fulfill, to complete. This is imperative. So this is imperative. Yeah. This is also a very interesting form. This is imperative. Yeah. Okay, it's not important. So it's it means to fulfill, and this is imperative. So fulfill for me this wish. So eldo means wish. In German, it's called begehren. Begehren means desire, kind of a strong desire. Okay, so as I said, in Greek, I just copied the text edition of Martin West and also the edition in Loeb. So you see, in the Greek alphabet, they did not put. So the just well, we couldn't know if it is long or short just from the text, right? We have to use the meter. And as I said, the Iliad and also Odyssey, they were composed in the Greek hexameter. Yeah, not originally, I mean. There's a development of hexameter, but it's not the topic of today. So it's not the topic for today. We know that they are composed in hexameter. So hexameter is like, if I put it here, I hope you all know that this is long, short, long. So hexameter means that there are 6 sections or 6 parts. So each part has 4 mora. Yeah, and this 4 mora can either be long, or long, short. So for this one, A, so this is double long, and then for this one, so I put it, make it clear, so you will know. Oh, sorry. This is actually the scansion. So this is long, long, and long, short, short, long, short, short, long, take care. This is long, short, short, long, short, short, long, uncaps. So at the end, it's long or short, it's okay. Okay, so then we know piona, and then we know this word. So I just used, so we know here it's actually long yi, and then so I put it here, make it clear. Yeah. So here, as I said, it is actually long, short, short. So here, wait a minute. So here is long, short, short. Okay. So actually, this is piona, right? And then, as I said, explained earlier, if you have in Greek two vowels directly meeting each other or coming together, it means that there must be something missing between these two vowels. So it is not actually piona directly. Originally, there must be something missing. This is actually could add it if I'm not sure if I can. Wait a minute. Yeah, if I can find the sign here. So it is actually a D gamma, but I'm not sure if I can find it here. Wait a minute. So D gamma. Yeah, this is here. So actually we have originally here a D gamma. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this D gamma. And this D gamma actually comes from, so I put it in the transcription. So it is like P vona, right? So this is actually P vona. Okay. And just to compare this Sanskrit form, Sanskrit called Pivan, right? And this P vo, so actually this is actually a stem to quite similar to the Sanskrit one, right? Yeah, Pivan or the Piona. And then, so now comes the second question. So what is feminine of piona in Greek? So again, there's several options, so you can choose which one you like. So I put it here. So I just ignore the accent. So the first one is piona. And then the second one is pione. The third one is po, sorry, wait a minute. Piona. The fourth one is Piede, or the fourth one, moment, the fifth one is Pie, wait a minute, Pio, okay, let's do some test. So what is actually the, no, wait a minute, I should. Yeah, okay. So can anyone tell me what is the correct form of the feminine of piona? Yeah, can is there any other possibilities like okay, Piera, the 4, yeah, 4 and 5, yeah. So actually there are two possibilities, right? 4 or 5, yeah, 4, right? Okay, so yeah, I think it's more correctly to write a short A here. Write a short A here. But actually in the in the text edition, it is always the length of this alpha is not actually written. Okay, so this is actually the correct answer. So I make it. And why? So why? Yeah. Well, it's well. Actually, if you want to know the form, you can actually check the dictionary. It's all. It's actually written there. So first, for the let's check the. Wait a minute. Let's check the Vedic dictionary. Right. So this is the Vedic dictionary, and you put. Wait a minute. So you put P-bound here, and then you see here's the feminine form. Neglect this accent here. It's not correct. So this is actually P-va li, and the accent is on P. Yeah, accent is on P. So you see in Vedic dictionary, you find the feminine form as P-va li, right? And then if you check the Greek dictionary, you can either use this one, like P on. Yeah, you find it here, P on or P on. Yeah, you type in P on, and then this comes the form, and if you click here, and no, the feminine form is not written here, but let's check this one. Okay. So like this one, if you click this dictionary, so this dictionary is for Homer, called Altenhit, and then you see the feminine is called this one, but the display is a little bit strange. So let's probably turn back to the etymological dictionary. So like you have it here, right? So let's come back. So you see here, this is a form, P et A. So this is actually, so I put it here, and we describe it later. So the evidence we have now, I use note here. So what we have now, okay, yeah. So the Vedic, the Vedic form is P1, and feminine is, so this is masculine. This is masculine, and the feminine is called P-va li, right? P-va li, right? So this is the feminine, and then the Greek form is called. So I just write the transcription. It's easier. So in Greek, it's called P-on, right? And actually, between the P-on, there must be a v. There must be a v. Okay. And this is masculine, right? And then let's okay, let's check. So in Greek, this is feminine, Pierre. Okay, this is feminine. Okay, so we will actually explain it later. Yeah. So this is actually what we have, right? It looks a little bit strange, but we will analyze it later. Yeah. So now let's move on to the examples we talked about last time. So this is the first example called aha und aham. Actually, if you check the dictionary, the Meyerhofer, it's actually pretty easy to find the different forms. Wait a minute. So actually today is basically for the grammar. We won't read a lot, and I hope it's not too boring for some of you. So we find it in the dictionary called Ahan, and another form called Ahar. It's called heteroclitic. So we have a terminology here. This is a German word. This is German word, and in English it's called heteroclitic, right? So what is this? Is comes from actually the Greek Greek name. So hetero is a Greek word for different. So we actually have a different, not different word, but kind of a different stem inside this word. So what is the distribution of this of the different stem? Let's take a look. So in alte Sprache, so in old languages, nominative singular. See, this is a neutron. This is a neutral form. So actually, we have in nominative, sing, and accusative. This is actually the same because for the neuter, there's actually no difference between nominative and singular. So we use the form aha. Okay, we use the form aha. Yeah. And then for all the other forms, like datsu, kasus from ahan, ahan, aha, v locative singular, ahan, ahani, amtaga. So you see, all the other forms, all the other forms, we use actually ahang, yeah. But you check, there's other differences like aham and aha, right? It looks a little bit confusing, right? Yeah, and so let's talk about it. So first, we talk about the origin of the form. So this kind of declension is a very important Indo-European origin. So it is called this und her heterocliton. This is not a sound change. I'm explaining. So wait a minute. So this is not a sound change. This symbol, let's take a brief stop. So this symbol, there's a specific, this symbol, pay attention. This means develops into, and lautgesetzlich, sound change, sound laws, how to say that? According to sound laws, yeah, according to sound laws. This is actually the meaning. So if you read this, it means that ahar turns into aham according to the sound law, but it is not right. There's no sound law for this change. There are actually two stems in this word. These are actually two. So we have a special name called und n heteroclitic, and this this kind of nouns have two stems. This is quite important. The first stem is with and the second stem is with the n. And this n stem can have other variants like this, depending on which form. And this und n heteroclitic, they have their Proto-Indo-European origin. So let's check the information in Hittite. So if we move to this book, I have already probably shown you this book. It's called Nisiri. It's a very useful handbook for Hittite. It's published in 2006, pretty new. And if we turn to chapter 1.6, there's a special chapter on this nouns. It's called Tem und und n. So let's take some example. First is, so you see all these words are neutral, 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 neutral. And the first one is pretty widespread, called Vatar or V or Venten. Vatar, this is water, yeah. Or it's a French word for water, yeah. So let's take a look. Nominative accusative for the neuter, it's the same. So it's called Vatar or Vartar, yeah. Either short or either one R or double R. The difference is that it is actually a long A, and for long A, there's a plenic writing in Hittite. How to say that? Plenic, plenic, right? I'm not. I have to check the spelling. Plenic. Okay, I forget it. So it means that if you want to write the long vowel va, you have to write the vowel again. 就是在赫体语当中，就是它如果要表示长音的话，就它往往会多写一个在这里。但它如果没有多写的话，不代表它一定是短音。但是它如果写的话，一般都是长音，是这种情况。因为楔形文字它那个怎么讲，就是毕竟跟梵语字母或者其他拉丁字母不太一样。OK， 好。Okay, so then let's move on. So this is actually the nominative, accusative, vatar, and check the genitive, the dative, the locative, and allative. Take it. There's an allative in Hittite, and ablative, and instrumental, and so on. All the other forms you see, it is not but n here. It is very important. So take a look. So this is n, this is n, this is also n, and this is also n. So the locative, the dative locative, so there's actually no separate dative. Dative and locative are combined, and the ending is actually ni. The ending is actually e, short e. You find this e also in Sanskrit, right? Also in Hittite. So the stem is the n stem, and the ending is a ni. And also for allative, the stem is an n stem, and the ending is a r. Yeah, so actually in Hittite, the water vatar. So this is nominative, accusative, but the dative. Okay, wait a minute. So this is where can e. So this is dative, dative locative, right? Yeah. So you see the difference. This is R in nominative accusative, just like the Sanskrit, ahar. This is day, and this is water. Yeah. Okay. And then you see in the other forms, like allative, it's the same. Where tenor. Yeah. So this is allative. Yeah. Yeah, this is ending. This is ending, and this is the stem. Yeah. Here. So this is a very archaic phenomena of nominal declension in Indo-European languages. And actually, we talked about this problem in our previous group chat. That why should the Indo-European languages be so complicated that for this simple word they have to use different stem? Well, the Indo-European linguists do not answer why they are so complicated. They just explain how the complexity look like. 就是我们不会解释为什么他们一定要这么写。就这个的话，事实上是属于就没有定论的，就是你没法证实。就是我们上一次在群里讨论的时候，就是说，你很有可能是因为早期这种语言它人为的复杂化。然后呢，因为是属于不同的，就语言这个本身，它本身并不是一种大众化的产物，就是不是说所有人说的话都一样的，就是有不同的阶层。这就是那个后藤敏文先生在他的论文里面谈到的问题。So this comes to the question of the origin of such complicated forms. This one theory by Toshifumi Goto that like the ancient languages, at least the Proto-Indo-European languages, they are not designed for everyone. And such a complicated system is not designed for anyone. And there are several different layers, or there are different, how to say that? There are different groups of people. And some people, like the Hittite, they kind of simplify some forms, but they have kept other complexity. But like the Greeks or the Indians, the Proto-Greeks or Proto-Indians, they kind of preserve other aspects of the complicated system. So this is only a hypothesis. It's difficult to prove. But what we are going to learn is that what it looks like. We do not explain why it should look like this. We just learn how it looks like. So this is the picture. That there are a lot of these heteroclitics, so different stems. So put it in English like different stems. Nominal declension, different stems. Okay, and the R form occurs only in nominative, accusative, singular, but in all the other forms they use the ain stem. So ain is preserved in all the other forms, but R is for the nominative singular. Okay. And then, how do we explain this one? Aha. So aha, if we check, I forgot. Does anyone moment? I think we can check Goto. Yeah, Goto is always useful. So let's check if we have aha here. Wait a minute. It's a little bit strange, right? Should I put accent here? Yeah, you see, in Goto, the chapter number, this is actually chapter 1.13, right? So in this chapter, Goto also listed the forms of unter her. So you see, in Vedic, well, he did not actually list all the detailed forms. So for the detailed forms, you can check Meyerhofer. So you can check Meyerhofer here. So let's take a look of the form in Meyerhofer. And I still remember Mr. Zhao pointed out that in the textbook by Guhe, he has written a German Sanskrit textbook. So he mentioned that so this is singular, right? So the plural forms, plural nominative and accusative, they are the same, right? Of day, it's called days, right? In Sanskrit, it's written like this ahani. Probably some of you would explain this ahang as the stem, but it is not true because this form is actually analogically built to the other forms, nominate, to the other neutral forms in R. So I couldn't, I can't give an example, but yeah. So actually, other R stem neutral, their plural nominative, great. Okay, yeah. So it's the ending is like ani, right? So if you check Goto, wait a minute. So if you check Goto, so this is for the R declension. So you see, actually, it is analogically built to the other R stem. Why? Because the reason is that you see in some forms like dative plural or locative plural called aha bias, right? So I will explain why we have this aha form. Why we have this aha. So this actually has ahen, but check it. If we have three consonants, one after another, wait a minute. So if we have three consonants, so what happened? What will happen to this N? I think a lot of you know the answer, right? So in this case, this N should turn into a vowel. So three consonants is not allowed. So even here, we have actually four consonants left, right? Ahn, bias, right? So it makes, yeah, that's correct. That's great, yeah. So it will change the N into a vowel, into this one. And this one turns into a. So this is basically the logic behind this. So this is quite regular, right? I told you that and n interchange or change or distribute in different forms. But what is the origin of this R? It actually comes from certain case forms. So this aha, I write it here. So aha originates from certain case forms. For example, this one. You have three consonants, one after another, and then this N will become a vowel, and it is R, yeah. Okay, so this is actually basically the reason for this aha. And then a second thing, if we have aha, and this is neutral, so what would be a very natural, how do you say that, development of the plural nominative? It is ani, right? So the ani form is actually secondarily entstanden. So how should I translate entstanden? And okay, I just write the German words. You can check it later. Yeah, it's sekundäre entstanden, secondarily entstanden. Okay, so this is a reason. And now let's turn back to the previous question. this is actually the reason originated. Yeah, similar. Yeah, right. Similar because I read it here. Yeah, so the entstanden, yeah, could mean originated, but because I always speak German, so I kind of lost the feeling for English. Okay, so let's turn back to this these forms. So now you know why we have the distribution of in and So these two forms actually go back to the original distribution of, and then probably comes another, and probably we can ask another question. That is, why we have okay, it's okay. We can actually move on. So actually, this difference of stem van and va actually goes back to the und in heteroclitic heteroclitic. So this is a very important terminology. You have to keep it in mind. You are not. I mean, you do not really need to memorize it, but I mean, you do not need to write it yourself, but you have to recognize it and to know the meanings. Yeah. Okay. And then let's explain a little bit the Greek form. So in Greek and also in Sanskrit, and also these stem have they have Ablaut. So they also have Ablaut. So the Greek form. So I write it like I get. Sorry, I think I have to keep it to be precise. So actually, the Vedic form. Let's analyze it. So I just neglected the accent. Accent here is not that important. Yeah. So it is actually it actually goes back to the Van grade. So it is actually the, how to say that? It's actually the E grade, right? E full grade. And then the Greek form. The Greek form is P von, right? So it is actually the this grade, right? Yeah. And then what is the feminine form? Let's check. So this is masculine. This is masculine. And then let's check the feminine. The Greek form is like P-body, right? So what is the origin of this P-body? P-body actually goes back to P wait a minute. Yeah. Actually goes back to P-body, right? Actually goes back to P-body. Because if it is P-body, it must become P-body, right? So it must be P-body. Yeah. And then this P-body, this E, there's also a story. This feminine E comes from earlier form. It's like this. Make it a little bit. So it is actually second laryngeal. Why? Because second laryngeal is connected with feminine, and it's also collective, right? So the second laryngeal, I put it here. So second laryngeal actually has collective meaning. 机器 means 就这个是一个机器 I put a Chinese name. 机 机器名词，机器名词。Okay, so this is also the reason why in Greek, plural neutral takes singular verb forms, because neutral plural is kind of a group of things, and they are just considered as a singular. Okay, yeah. 就是希腊语的那个中性复数，一般它接的动词是单数，就是因为中性复数东西作为一个集体，就不会当成一个多数的东西，就把它当成一个集体的东西。就比如说像水啊这种东西，就是 like water， yeah, you just consider water as a whole thing, not different, like like the how to say that H2O, no, H2O origins, right? Molecules, like it's not like molecules. It's just considered as a whole, as a complete, as a whole thing. Yeah. And then what's the Greek form? If we put it, so let's write it. So then I write it more detail. So as I said, this is this one, right? And then we would expect they come from the same form, right? So this is actually a hypothesis that Greek and Vedic go back to the same form in the feminine. Yeah. So what should the Greek look like? So let's make some analysis. So H2 turns into a R in Greek, right? H2. So in Greek, so PIE, this is regular sound change. I guess you all remember this in Greek, yeah. And I put it, so this is actually kind of a very important sound change you have to remember. This is pretty, yeah, this is a little bit simplified. Actually, there are some, kind of some conditions, but to get a simplified picture, you memorize this word, these three distributions. Yeah. Like this. So 1, 2, 3, ARO. So just memorize this 1, 2, 3, ARO. Yeah, okay. And then if we have this form, so what would happen in Greek? In Greek, liquid and semivowel, they will have metathesis. Metathesis in Greek, namely R with E. Wait a minute. Turns into E and R. So this is a metathesis. So they change position, yeah. And then this would become P. So they change position, right? Yeah. So they become P vera. So that's why we have in Greek P era. I can copy it right here. So this is why we have in Greek. We have in Greek P era. So you see, P is this P, right? Moment, make it right. P and air is here, air is here, and the la is here, right? So this is P era, this is P vera, and this V disappears like normal. the V sound disappears in Greek. Yeah. Okay, so this is actually the explanation for Sanskrit pivan, pivadi, Greek pivon or pion, piera. Okay, before we make a stop, let's make some summary of what we have seen now. So we start with a question of the feminine form of pivan, fat, and in Sanskrit, in Vedic, it is actually pivadi. And then we read a verse in Iliad, is the first book of Iliad, line 40. And we have in this verse a word called piona, and it is means fat, and it is the plural neutral, yeah. The fat things, the fat pieces, okay, side pieces. And then we talk about the words aha and ahan, and we checked the different forms in the dictionary of Meyerhofer, ahan, nominative singular ahar, and in other forms we have and ahan. And then we checked the Hittite, and I have shown you that this heteroclitic, this wait a minute. So this heteroclitic is quite productive in Hittite, in Anatolian languages. And here you can see they are all neuter forms, neuter words. And and the R form is reserved for nominative, accusative, and all the other cases forms have in stem, right? And then based on this, we can explain ahang and aha. And ahang with n is pretty regular, but this aha is a little bit difficult because this aha originates from certain case form where three consonants occur together, and then and then the consonant, the ain, in the middle must develop into a vowel and put a circle under it, and this n turns into a r. It's quite regular in Indo-Iranian. Okay, and then from this secondary, from this aha, and we can, when we have this secondarily originated form, ahani. Okay, and then we talked about the Vedic form pivan and pivadi, corresponding to Greek pivon and piera. And this e, the feminine, how to say that, the feminine ending is actually from e plus a laryngeal 2, and this laryngeal 2 is a mark for collective. And then laryngeal 2 turns into a r in Greek, so that's why we have veya, and then this veya, it's actually, I have to put it in strict sense. It's actually this one. Yeah. Okay. So ya. So this is ya, and there's a metathesis, ri to year in Greek. Yeah. So you see velia to vela, and then we have this piera. Okay. And the sound disappears in Greek. In some inscriptions, we have the sign of digama, but on the manuscripts, they are not written. Yeah. Okay, this is basically for the first hour, and for the next hour, we are going to talk about this word pati, and means path. Okay, so let's make a brief stop. Okay. If you have any questions, you can put it in the group chat. 你们没睡着吧？我看没有任何没有任何反馈。Okay. Yeah, feminine is actually a collective. Yeah, originally. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I have to make it clear. This in wait a minute. So this I have to make it clear. These are neutral. Yeah, neutral. Yeah, these are neutral. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And only in other forms like Van and Var, it can have masculine or feminine. But this originally is reserved for neutral. Yeah. Okay. So let's make a stop. Okay. But also, well, how do you say that? As we explained, this well. So how do we understand this feminine in PIE means collective? I actually can't understand your question, right? The point is that H2. So let's make it clear. So H2 is ending for collective. This is what I want to say. H2 is the ending for collectives. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, probably I explain it a little bit more. So what is collective? Collective is, what is the meaning of collective? Collective, wait a minute. Collective means that plural of neutral. Plural of neutrals. Yeah. 就是什么叫集体？我不知道这个中文怎么翻译啊。就集体名词的意思是，就所谓的集体名词，事实上就是中性词，就是 就是在这个语境下面，集体名词就是表示中性词。然后呢，我说的是H2 is ending for collective is which so I want to say that H2 is actually ending of plural neuter. It's actually plural neuter. So this is what collective means. Of course, you can say that a group of people, a group of how to say that, a group of cows, a group of but this is not in this context. So this is a grammatical terminology, collective. So it means that plural neuter 就是中性复数的结尾是 H2. This is actually what I want to say. Well, I don't know. I don't know so there's someone, I'm not sure if I can, no, I can't copy your 就是有人说，就是 R 和 N 为什么会存在这种就是为什么会存在 R 和 N？ 就我说了，这个问题是印欧语言学家不解释的，就是你可以猜想，但是你这个猜想你要证实的话是另外一回事。就你可以 ，of course you can guess, you can hypothesis, you can guess everything, but for the real linguists, for the serious linguistics, it's really difficult to prove. Okay, so let's move on to the second word called pass. 是啊，就是猜想，当然可以猜想，但很难证实。Okay, okay, so let's move on to the second. So for this word, path or pati, it's a little bit strange because let's first check the dictionary. If we check the dictionary, how do I put it? So probably let's I have to. Yeah, so let's come to this word. So again, we use information in Meyerhofer. Actually, Meyerhofer and Gotthold has actually summarized all the information. What I'm doing here is try to help you understand the information and understand the reason, the logic behind this. So you see in the dictionary by Meyerhofer, the entry word. Wait a minute. So actually in Meyerhofer, EWAIA, you have the word called panta, right? Panta. But if you check, how do you say that? Let's check Morley-Williams. If you put panta here, you have nothing, right? No much is found. But does it mean that Morley-Williams doesn't have this word? Of course not, right? Because in Morley-Williams, you have to search like this form. Yeah, you have to search. Oh, this is again the not the like check. Let's check the Grassman. If you put panta here, you see you have panta, but he will tell you. For this word, you have to check this form, pasi, right? So pasi, you have to check pasi, and then you have all the forms. So here comes something really strange, right? So the entry word, the entry word 就是关键词，就是我不知道 entry word 中文怎么翻译啊？就是你查字典的时候，你查的那个词，英语和德语就比较简单嘛，因为它没有那种复杂的变化啊。词条，对，中文可以翻译成词条，对，好，谢谢。就是有的时候突然这种 概念就没有立刻跳出来。就是你查字典的时候查词条的话，okay, so the entry word in Gnasman is called pati, right? Lemma, yeah, right. Lemmata, yeah, right. In Greek, in German, it's like lemma, yeah, lemmata. Yeah. So for this word, the lemma or the entry word is pati, right? And we usually expect this pati as a stem, right? So like if we check other words, we can check other words, of course. Like if we check deva, we have deva as a stem, right? So usually it's an entry word. So usually the entry word is the stem. Okay, but by pati, let's take a look. It's so complicated, right? So pati is the entry word, lemma, but take a look. The nominative singular is called pantas. Pantas, right? I read it here. So it's a little bit complicated. So nominative singular called pantas. Accent is important. I have to put the accent here. So this is a case in Vedic. We will check the detailed information, and then take a look. There's another form called pantam, and you probably can guess that pantam must be the accusative, right? So accusative singular is called pantam, right? Yeah. Okay. But check other forms. It's kind of weird, right? Like the genitive ablative, the ablative genitive. Singular, it's called pasas, right? So here, we will, I think, I'm not sure if it's enough. Probably we loaded another form. And then this form, pansas, it's nominative plural, right? Nominative plural. It's called pansas, right? Pansas, right? And then here, it's accusative plural. Accusative plural. It's called pasas. Again, check this. This is Ablaut. Wait a minute. Yeah, this is instrumental. This is instrumental. Yeah, wait a minute. This is instrumental plural, right? Called pati bis. Yeah. And accent is here. Accent is here. And this is accent, right? And then this is accent. Yeah. Okay. And I will check it in Meyerhofer to make sure that I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So let's check it in Meyerhofer. Meyerhofer, pantas, correct. Accusative singular, pansam, also correct. And nominative plural called pansas, also correct. And instrumental plural is called passis, passibis, right? And locative we can neglect. And genitive ablative, genitive ablative, it's called passas, right? Okay, and also accusative plural called passas, right? So it looks like really chaotic, right? It's like we have here, I just highlight, we have here, right? Yeah, but we are here, yeah. So it's really a little bit chaotic, right? So what we can do with this, and especially if we compare the how to say that, if we compare the Avestan form in Avestan. Let's check the Avestan form. Avestan form, you can find it here. Let's put the Avestan form here. So in Avestan, nominative singular is called panta with punct above. So this is a special sign in Avestan. And then in Avestan accusative, it's called thumb. Yeah, this is also a special sign here. And ablative singular called Pisces. Even weird, right? It's even ablative. Oh, sorry, no. This is locative. Sorry. So this is actually this is paso. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, because it's strong from ablative. Yes, you are right. Yeah, that has something to do with the strong form and also the weak form. But wait a minute, it's more than that. I will explain it. I will explain this. It's actually more than that. Yeah. And then the ablative genitive form is actually pasa, paso. Yeah, paso. Yeah. Okay. And then let's check the nominative plural. If we nominative plural is called. Wait a minute. Okay, I first write accusative plural. Okay. Accusative plural is here. You find it here. It's called paso. It's again called paso. Paso, right? Okay. Yeah, and then instrumental plural, not here, but we can find the forms also in Goto. So let's move on to Goto. Let's move on to Goto. Okay, so this is information in Goto. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Yeah. So here is really a little bit complicated. I will explain it. It's probably a little bit difficult for you to understand. Yeah, this part is really a little bit complicated. If you can't understand it, it's also fine. We will explain it later. Yeah. So let's check. Wait a minute. So yeah, so the Avestan form, like you see here, we have actually for this form, you see plural nominative called panthas, panthasas. From the ain stem, there's another form called pansanas, right? So this is actually the original form. And in Avestan, we actually only have this pasanas form, right? So in Avestan, young Avestan, it's called patano, right? Okay, and the instrumental plural, it's called patan. No, take a look. accusative, wait a minute, accusative plural is called this one. Accusative plural, wait a minute, accusative plural is here. Accusative plural is called passas, not passam, passas, okay? Yeah. And then the Avestan form, bish, wait a minute, bish. So it's look really chaotic, right? Especially if we take this form. It looks really chaotic, right? Like if we compare the like this one, yeah, right? Yeah. So I will explain it and tell you that it is actually has principles behind this. So this sign in Avestan, this is actually, I'm not sure if I can finish it in 5 minutes. It's probably a little bit difficult. Yeah. So this is a sign for th, aspirated t. Yeah. So from the book of Goto, there are some information we should use to start. So this word is, how do you say that? It's a very ancient word, archaic word. And then this word has Ablaut. And this is quite obvious, right? And you already mentioned that there's a strong and there are weak forms. So it has Ablaut. And for Ablaut, there are actually some different categories. And in order to get the information of the categories, let's check the book by Michael Weiss. In the book of Michael Weiss, there's a section on the, wait a minute, chapter 27. If you move to chapter 27, there's accentral paradigms. So this accentral paradigms has everything to do with this Ablaut. And there are several different categories. The first one is called acrostatic, but we are not going to talk about this one today. What we are going to talk about is this category. And this is exactly the example used by Michael Weiss. So this is one category. This is one category. Yeah. Instrumental plural is like this one. Partibus. Yeah. This is partibus with an E, not with the R, with the E, short E. Take a look. This is short E. Yeah. I will explain it why. Yeah. So there's a category called Amphikinetic. Amphikinetic. So what is or Amphikinetic? So what is the meaning of Amphikinetic? So for this Ablaut type, so this type called Amphikinetic. This is quite advanced and difficult part of the Indo-European languages, but I will try to explain as clearly as possible. So this is a kind of Ablaut type called Amphikinetic. What does this type look like? For the strong forms, so strong means strong forms, right? So for the strong forms, and inside a word, we have a root. We have a root, and then we have a, so this is a word, a word. For a word, we have root plus suffix and plus ending. I'm going to probably need another 10 or 15 minutes. Sorry for the delay, yeah. Okay, so, and for each of the parts there are certain grade. Certain grade for each part. Namely, so let's make it looks like this. So this is actually the root. This is actually the word. We just use a very abstract form to describe the word. So a word has three parts: root, suffix, and ending. So R is for root, S is for suffix, E is for ending, and this bracket is for the specific grade. So in this category, Amphikinetic strong forms has E grade in root, and it is accentuated. And then it has O grade in the middle, and then it is 0 grade in the ending. So this is for the strong forms. And then for the weak forms, it has this different structure. Let's make it like this. For the weak stem, it has 0 grade here. Oh, wait a minute. It has 0 grade here. Amphi actually means on both sides. On both sides. First and the end. Yeah. And air. It is accentuated. So what does amphi means? Amphi actually means both, or yeah, both sides. What is the meaning of both? Both sides. It means the accent has position. So the accent is at the beginning and at the end. So this is actually amphi means. Amphi means first and the last. First and the last. First and the last. So the accent is on the first or on the last. 就我用中文解释一下，就这个术语表示它那个重读的，就是一种方式，就是什么重读方式呢？就是它在第一个部分和最后一个部分会重读，就它会在这两个中间交替。就第一部分 root 和最后一部分 ending， 它会在这两个部分中间交替，所以它叫那个 Amphikinetic。Sorry, I need to Okay, then let's move on to the word. So for this word, what is a root? So for this word, a root is tent. This is root. And then what is the suffix? Suffix is actually H2. Yeah. This is a very special, wait a minute. This is actually H2. Yeah. And then what is the ending? Ending can be a lot of things, right? Ending can be S, M, or bich, or bis, right? Ending is like the grammatical information, right? So S is the nominative or genitive, right? M is actually the accusative, right? And bis is actually instrumental, right? Okay. So then let's move on. So what is the strong forms? Strong forms are actually, let's write another information. Strong forms are nominative, accusative, nominative singular, accusative singular, and nominative plural. Yeah, these are strong forms. And all the other forms are weak forms. All the other weak. Okay, so now let's move on. So so we have this. So let's check the how to say that. Let's use this formula to predict or to make the forms. So use this formula. So this is nominative, singular. So what should it look like? Pair is like this, right? Pair. And the suffix should have O grade, right? So this is a suffix. Oh, wait a minute. Make it. So this is a suffix, and it should be in O grade, right? So we should write like this, right? So this is a suffix. Suffix should in O grade. And then the ending. So nominative, the ending must be S, right? So this is a theoretical form of the nominative singular, right? So then let's check it. So what should it look like in Vedic? So in Vedic, let's make it that this way. Yeah. So in Vedic, E becomes the R, right? And or is like or becomes also A, and there's two and there's a laryngeal at the end, so it becomes a long A, right? Becomes compensation and lengthening, or right? It's like R, right? So it should look like pantas, right? But take a look. Pantas is only preserved in Avestan. Pantas, so it is quite regular in Avestan. And in Avestan, this R's at the end becomes this sound, R plus, so this sound turns into R. Yeah, this is in Avestan. Yeah, or in Iranian, or in Avestan, right? Okay. This is the sound change. Yeah, it should look like patas, right? But what happens in Greek, in Sanskrit, we have aspirated, right? So the reason is that, let's check the genitive singular form, pasas. The genitive singular, let's use this formula. So for genitive singular, it is a weak form, right? Weak form. So we have to use this formula. And remember, this is a root. The root is called pent, and this is 0 grade. So we copy it here. So this is, we should use 0 grade. So what can we make? How can we make a 0 grade? We delete the A, right? And then suffix is again 0 grade. This is 0 grade, right? So 0 grade. Wait a minute. Yeah. And I have to make it again. So this is 0 grade, right? 0 grade. And then the ending is A or O grade, right? So A, this is actually A grade, yeah, for the genitive. The genitive, I already told you that genitive also has a S, like in English, you say that someone's, right? So this is the Euro genitive, and we should use the A grade. So it is the S, yeah. And then what turns into, what should it look like in Vedic? Take a look. Here, we have 3 consonants, right? So you have to make the ain into a vowel. You should put a circle, right? And then this turns into a pa, right? Remember this group, t, this is important. We have talked about this last time. And I say that in Proto-Indo-European, in PIE, no voiceless aspirated. And Vedic voiceless aspirated comes from voiceless. Wait a minute. Voiceless plus laryngeal 2. This is what I have told you. So this TH2, T laryngeal 2, turns into a th. Yeah. So then it becomes pasas. So this is the reason we have in Greek, we have in Vedic, patah, right? And then take a look. This Avestan form, this is, so let's take a look. So this form should written in Avestan like this is th is written like sigma, not sigma, theta, and then this as according to the sounding rules, it should be a o, like just like in Greek, like in Sanskrit, sorry, like in Sanskrit, and why it should be long? Because in Old Avestan, final vowels are usually lengthened. So it is not etymologically lengthening, but it's just lengthened. It's not etymologically lengthening, but it's due to the recitation, due to the Old Western recitation. 就他们在唱诵的时候，会经常把那个尾音，末尾的元音拉长，所以它才会在那个 Avestan 当中变成一个长音的 O， 就它原来就是一个 O。Originally, it's a simple O. Yeah. So this is actually basically the logic. I won't spend more time explaining all the other forms, but important for this is that this is, I know it's pretty difficult to understand. It's really complicated, but for today, you have to keep in mind this terminology called Amphikinetic and why it is called amphi. So kinetic means moving, moved. So the accent moves between the first and the last. Amphi means both ends. So the accent moves between root and ending. So root and ending. Yeah. Root and ending. And then based on this structure, you can develop all the forms. And the Sanskrit form pansah is actually a mixture of pant with pat. So it is actually generalized, the th. Originally, it should be a t, but it is influenced by the genitive form. 就是梵语它为什么和 Avestan 在这里不一致呢？因为事实上 Avestan 是一个非常规则的现象。Avestan 非常规则，然后呢，那个梵语的话，相当于是把其他格的这个形式借过来用了，就是受到影响。对 ，A is missing. Why? No, this A is turned into R. Yeah, so nothing is missing, right? A is here. A is R. A is R. A is R. So I make TH this is to her, yeah. Yeah, this is, I make the different colors so that you can see. Okay, so this is basic for today. It's a little bit complicated, and I will explain this theory or this Ablaut in the later courses. So this is a very important and very difficult, I have to admit, of the Indo-European languages. Okay, so let's make a brief summary of what we have done today before we stop. So today we talk about the heteroclitic. It means that it has different stems, like the R and the N, and it is a Proto-Indo-European feature, and you find it also in Hittite. Like in Hittite, you have this R and N for several words, and they are all neuter. So as I emphasized, this and N heteroclitic, they are neuter, but this feature has spread into other forms, like this Piban and Pivali, in Greek Pivon and Piera. And then we talk about the forms of Vedic Aham, yeah, okay. And then we concentrate on the explanation of the word for way, path, in in Vedic and also in Avestan. And we introduced the complicated Ablaut type called Amphikinetic. And Amphikinetic means that the accent changes between the front and the end, and not on the middle, but on the front and on the end. And based on this kind of structure, and we can make the forms regularly, like the nominative is like this, and the genitive is like this, and then we can get the regular forms. And so then we can see that Avestan is more archaic than the Vedic. So in this example, Avestan more archaic than Vedic. Yeah. And in Vedic, you see, it has generalized the aspiration, th, to other forms. But in Avestan, it is clear in nominative, there's no aspiration, but in genitive, it has. Because in nominative, this H2, wait a minute, that's a little bit strange. In nominative, this H2 is separated from T, but in genitive, this H2 stays close next to the T. So it causes the aspiration. So as I said, in Vedic, if you have a voiceless aspiration, it must come from a voiceless plus a laryngeal 2. This is important, you have to keep in mind. So next day, or next Sanskrit class, I will probably explain very briefly another word called dadi, the sour milk. Because the sour milk and also other laryngeal things. So now it's kind of a little bit advanced. We are going to talk about laryngeals. So laryngeals is a little bit foreign little bit strange for some of you. Okay, and next day and next time we will also talk about. Now let's ask a question for the at the conclusion. Sanskrit pasi means pass, right? Means pass. Does it has anything to do with English pass? Are they etymologically connected? English pass and the Vedic pass. So one is yes, etymologically connected, and two, no, nothing to do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, great. Yeah, there's no relationship between these two words are completely unrelated. They're just coincidentally, yeah. So they are not. They are no. They are not related. Okay, so this is everything for today, and thank you very much for your patience and to stay until now. Yeah, today is a little bit longer. Okay, so see you next time. Yeah, see you on Monday. Yeah, some of you. Monday will be the next Tokaran class in German. Okay, you're welcome. So as always, I will upload the file to the website. Okay, so have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.